what they call a picker. Um, Interesting job. Uh, I volunteered to do that today, um, and it's quite interesting. You don't need a college degree to do it. Um, uh, I will tell you that if you don't like to walk like a lot, it's not the job for you. Um, when you first start out, uh, somebody will take you around and do it with you and show you how to use the equipment. I used a handheld and a handheld printer. It's pretty cool, actually. And I would love to know the background setup for this because it's really kind of neat. So you'll have a big cart with plastic bins, and you'll have about 9 plastic bins. Hey, thank you for the thumbs up. And a big cart that's really easy to push, no matter how much weight is in it. Um, and it's a real tall cart kind of thing. And we even had a pizza party today. They had bought a bunch of high dollar pizzas and brought them in for everybody to munch on, which was really fun. Hey, hey, Roxanne, what's happening? And have you ever been an online picker or grocery picker shopper thing? Um, it was really interesting. I volunteered to do it today because they were short. And this is a new thing in the grocery stores uh, to where um, the stores actually have their own internal picking systems versus like Instacart, the app Instacart, where you go shopping for people. So I did it in a big grocery store today, and it was very interesting. Um, so anyway, you get a handheld, like a little phone thing. Then you got a little handheld printer, miniature printer. That's like it's like probably like 5 by 5 by 3 inches tall, and it prints labels all by itself. It's really cool. So you got a Bluetooth, the little phone thing, the handheld phone thing, to that printer, and then you sign in uh, to the handheld, and it shows that you're on staff. And then there's all these orders, okay? And it just says like grocery, or it'll say cold or stuff like that. And so um, it'll say what time that it's due right on the top. And I volunteered to do this, and the orders were already like 15 minutes behind. So it was really interesting. It doesn't take really a long time to do, and you'll work anywhere from like 2 orders to um, it's interesting. Um, I'm always in for learning new stuff. I'm just that kind of person. So it's very interesting to learn it, and I mean that way you know can be able to um, say, well, something I did, you know, or if somebody says, I wonder what that's like. You could tell them, hey, this is my experience. So it was interesting to learn something different. Um, like I say, I volunteered for it because they were way behind on the orders. They had 400 pieces that hadn't even been, picked, what they call picked for orders. So they were way, way behind. And I just said, hey, I'll try it. Just show me how to do it. Usually you can show me something, and I got it down in about 5 minutes. And so um, I'm one of those see-do people where I could read it for days, and that's all well and good. But if I can see pictures or do it, I learn it even faster. And so anyway, um, uh, you take this handheld, and somebody will escort you like the first one or two trips. And the hardest part of the job is knowing the aisle numbers if you don't even know the aisle numbers. Okay. So you have to like look around for aisle numbers and take big guesses or just guess to where you've seen those items before. Um, so it's kind of interesting. You take your time on the first day because it takes time to do it. And then also, if you got a lot of traffic in the store, you have to be very careful not to like hit little kids or run into people with the cart. You take your time, and because the cart's kind of big, and you want to wear very comfortable shoes with arch supports. Rule number one. I asked a couple people, the bad parts about the job, and they said, well, you got to make sure to have really comfortable shoes. It's worth whatever money you pay to have really comfortable shoes. And some people like Croc tennis shoes because you should wear closed toe shoes. That's for your own safety. If you were to drop a glass bottle or something, you protected your toes, whatever. Um, but closed toe shoe that's comfortable. One shoe that a lot of people talk about, and I've heard them talk about it at Walmart because I used to sell a lot of these shoes, and most of the people were nurses and Walmart people, even girls, and they look like guy shoes. They're like fabric looking fake wallaby shoes. Um, and they're called Hey Dudes. And they're really a cheap made shoe, but everybody says they're ultra comfortable. And if you ever go to Walmart, look down at people's shoes, and you will never believe how many women are wearing those shoes, plus guys. They really claim they're comfortable. I used to sell them at Harbor Walk Village, and I just really thought they were garbage and way overpriced for what they are. Now, I did see a girl that had some fake ones that she bought on Amazon that they claimed that they were Hey Dudes, and they were not Hey Dudes. And she thought they weren't that comfortable of a shoe. But when she come in the store and she tried on the real Hey Dudes, she said there is a difference. So don't buy the fake ones; they're not worth it. Um, but definitely wear a good, comfortable shoe that you can do a lot of walking in. Wear arch supports. So while worth it, you can get Dr. Scholl's arch supports, or you can get like the Walmart brand, whatever. At Walmart, just get some good arch supports to put into your shoes. Um, and it's kind of a slow paced thing. You don't have to be in a massive hurry. The job I did today, they dock you points if like you were to run into a kid or something like that. So you just take your time. And most of the shopping people say, man, greatest job in the world. Nobody's like bugging you. You just do your thing. And basically, that's true. The supervision I worked under is just the nicest guy in the world. It's a guy I see every day and say hi to him. And then next thing you know, I'm working in his department. So that worked out real well, you know. Um, so I did it for, gosh, let's see. I did it for about 8 hours, actually. I was doing a bunch of stuff before that, but I told them I'd stay as late as they needed me to. So um, I just got finished. But I thought I'd do a vlog about it. I need to do vlogs about odd jobs. So anyway, I had one girl. First, I had two girls that escorted me on the first run. Then we got that done. Then I went in the back and took the cart back there, and you just drop it off. And then you go get another cart. And they've got like, a bunch of these carts, these big tall carts. You go over and you get some more plastic totes and load in, make sure all the spaces are filled. Make sure that there's no old stickers on there from, the last orders. Ripped all those off. And then you pick your order on the handheld. Hopefully you pick one that's due right away instead of pick whatever it is you want to pick, because it makes the other orders late. Some people apparently skip. But I picked an oversized order, which was like 9 different people. And so when you push the button, and the printer automatically just prints out all these stickers, like 9 stickers, and they're like 3x3 stickers, and it has the customer's last name and the order number, and you just pull the sticker off, stick it on the side of the tote. On the top, that's number 1, and the next tote is number 2. You take that sticker, stick it on that tote as you go on, and you'll have anywhere from like 1 or 2 orders to 9. And so you got all your stickers on there. Then you go out on the floor, and it'll tell you, it'll have a picture of the item and the size, the weight, whatever, and and then it'll tell you what aisle number, what section of the aisle, which is really interesting how they do this. You'll go down to aisle number, and then they have sections at the top of the aisles. Okay, are these both pickup orders and delivery orders? I'm not sure. They're just all to go orders. Some people pick their stuff up. Some are delivered by the grocery store. And then some are delivered by other apps like, DoorDash or stuff like that. But these are, already picked. Do you guys earn tips? No, they don't allow any tips. No, this is the grocery store itself. There's no tips. I don't deliver it to the customer. All I do is pick what they call pick the order, and then I deliver it to the next people that sort the order out so that it's ready for the customer to pick it up or the delivery driver to pick it up or whatever. That's all I do is do like the grocery shopping. It's like when grandma asks you to go do her groceries, and you go get in the car and you go do her groceries with a little list. It's kind of like that. And it's really casual job. The faster you get in it, the better you are. They have rating systems, but I mean, this is my first time doing it. So I didn't know any of the aisles. I didn't know where any stuff was at, really. I took some good guesses. If I'd have brought my phone, I could have used it to look up aisle numbers, probably. Where the stuff's at exactly to get an idea. But it has numbers on there. You just need to look up in the air and look at all the aisle numbers in the store. And sometimes you have to kind of walk around to find, those aisles. That's one of the hardest parts of the job. Okay. So, and then you go down the aisle, like say it's aisle, A21 or something. And then it'll say number 7. And so then you look at the top of the aisle, and it's numbered all the way down that aisle, like 1 through 20. So you look for the number 7 way at the top of the aisle. It's really easy to see. Don't need glasses or anything. And then you go to the 7 section. Now, sometimes stuff's not stocked right because vendors come in and stock it themselves and not the store people. So sometimes you got to kind of look around. That it'd be close by. And then it'll tell you another number, like 42. And that is on the side of the ticket that has the price on it that's on the shelf. It'll be like, in one corner of it or whatever, it'll have that little number. So that's how you match it up to make sure it's the right item, is by that price tag on the shelf. And then also the picture. And then it tells you, it's just like if you were to go order it online on a website, it has the same thing, like the picture, the weight, all that kind of stuff. It's really neat. So like if you couldn't read English, you could do it by the picture, and so it's a great job for people that aren't real versatile in the English language. And I mean, it's like a 2-year-old's job, really. If a 2-year-old could push a cart and walk and all that stuff and pick up stuff. And so you get the item, you scan it with the little phone thing. Okay, you just push the button, it scans the UPC code, and it'll tell you if it accepts it or if it doesn't. If it accepts it, it'll tell you bag it up and then put it in number 1. plastic box, or number 3, or whatever order that goes to. And so you put it in a bag, and you go over and you take the handheld and you scan that number box. It tells you to put it in, and you put it in that box. Okay, it's amazing how this is done. It's really amazing how this is done. I didn't realize that these people, are working a whole bunch of orders at once, but they're all relatively small. I mean, it's just some stuff. And some, is refrigerated. You'll have a time limit of how long you can wander around with those refrigerated items, and the handheld will alert you after so many minutes, no matter how many orders you got left to pick. It'll tell you this pick has ended due to cold factor. And so then you have to go to the back room, as it won't let you scan anything else or do anything else. You have to go to the back room, and you have to go to the coolers, which are open door coolers, like beverage coolers, like when you go into a liquor store or something, and you open the door and you get a drink out. It's like that, but it's shelves. So all you do is open the glass door, and you load all your little totes in there, and then you go get it, take your cart and go fill it up with some more little plastic tote boxes, and you start over again. And you push the button that says order due at 10:30, and you push that button, and the order comes up, and it tells you how many items it's got. It may have 45, it may have 75, it may have 12, it may have 3. And so you push that button for that order, and then the printer automatically prints all the numbers, and the little labels that go on the tote boxes again. And then you take those and you put them on the tote boxes, each one on each one, and you go do it again. And it's really interesting. I mean, everybody I've talked to says they absolutely love that job. They said it's so easy, nobody's standing over your shoulder, whatever. There's really nothing you can do wrong. But once I think if you get to know the aisles in your head and where stuff is, basically, like say, milk and eggs or cheeses or bread sections or stuff like that. If you kind of know the general areas of stuff, then you will know more, and it could be quicker. But what's really cool is the way it's set up. Is you're doing everybody's orders all at once, and I don't know if this is all hand programmed in or there's a program written for this, but what it will do is it picks everything according to where you are. So if you've got an order of bananas, then it's going to pick the next closest thing to you for the next pick. And so then, it'll say you need 1 onion. And then you go scan the UPC code on the onion to make sure it's the right onion, and it accepts it, or it says not valid UPC code, so you got the wrong onion. And so when you get the right one, isn't that amazing? So when you get the right one, then it tells you bag it and put it in, box number 3. And so then you put it in a bag, and you go over there and you pull box number 3 over, and then you put it in there and you scan it with that handheld telephone looking thing, and then it shows you another item to go find. But it's everything's like in the general direction. So if you've got an order of bananas from one order, and you've got an onion from another person's order, and then you have like some lettuce from another person's order, all that stuff is right there, and it follows it all out. And then say you get an order of ice cream, well, that's going to be the next one, and then maybe you'll have 2 orders of ice cream on different orders. So it puts it all together. It organizes it all together, so you don't have to bebop all over the freaking place, back and forth, back and forth. It actually organizes it all. It is so interesting how, if if somebody hand does all that stuff and enters it in, if they all hand keyed in, or if that's run by a big program that organizes it all by uploading all the population, what's the items are in the store, all the inventories or locations of items in store and in stock. It's interesting. Now, if you have something that you can't find, like say that shelf is empty where you're supposed to get an item, then you hit not available. Okay. and you just touch the screen for not available. Then it'll come up with a substitution that it auto picks. And some stores allow substitution if it's out of one item. So say you got generic milk, and they're out of generic milk. Well, then the substitution is Gucci milk, and it's 3 times price, right? Well, it'll let you substitute using that Gucci milk, and the customer does not get charged over the other price that they were originally going to pay. That's pretty neat. That is pretty neat, because they want to sell you something, see? So you're not going to pay the price difference. So it's really a neat thing, because if they're out of stuff, then you get the high dollar item at no extra charge. So that's really a cool effect. You can make out better like bacon than going in the store and shopping for it if you order online. Yeah, honest to God. It'll tell you substitution, and sometimes it'll give you 1 or 2 substitutions to pick of like a different brand name, but it's something similar, whatever, and it might be a higher cost item. And if you find that item, you scan it, and it accepts it. Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting because they don't want to turn $1 away. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. You're not losing a sale. You're still making a sale, but you're not turning $1 away. That's interesting. And how many people would love to do online more often if they get all the high dollar stuff most of the time? They just assume not come in the store and just do online. And guess how neat that is? You know what I mean? Less parking used. People in and out. So like a restaurant. Keeping the seats full at all times, but lots of rotation, right? So it's really quite interesting. But so then if you can't get the original item or the substitutions, you have a button to click for that. Otherwise, you scan that substitution that they tell you. They give you the same thing, picture, and the aisle number, and the section number, and then the number of the price tag to find it. And so you scan that, and then it accepts it. Now, if you have more than one item of the same item, like say you got this ham on there, and so you scan the ham in the package with the UPC code in that little phone thing, and then it'll tell you need to have 4. So you look over, make sure there's 4, grab the 4, and then you hit OK, and it says put it in the bag and put it in, box number 6. And then you go over and you pull the box number 6 out, and you put it in there, and then you scan the front of the box on that label with that little phone thing, and it records that you got the item. So while you're doing that, this little phone machine, it records how many items you pick, how long it takes you to pick the items, and it rates you. And so, like, my rating sucked because I never did it before in my life, and I had to look for aisles and look for stuff, and I had a ton of substitutions. The more I did it, the worse it got. They were getting out of stuff, and there were stalkers down aisles and customers and all that. And there was the really rude pallet guy who just kind of stood there like he just got done smoking 3 joints and came to work. and was at a job stack or something. And he was just really a jerk face. And I couldn't get the cart through at all. And he just stopped there with this huge pallet and the pallet jack. And then there was I turned around and there was like 3 customers with grocery carts trying to get through, and he was like right in the middle of the aisle, and I couldn't get it through. Nobody else could either. And I didn't want to be rude or anything, and kind of stood there for a minute waiting for the guy to do it. And then he got real nasty and said, "You can get through." He said, "I'm trying to go that way." I said, "Well, I'm trying to go the opposite direction, but I can't get through because you're blocking the whole aisle." And he's like, "No, I'm not." Then he pulls the thing over about 4 inches. Now I can get through. See, you can get through. And he was just a snot ball. But that was about the worst part of the whole deal. Was just the snotty pallet jack runner. And he probably came from a temporary from JobStack or something. And a lot of times, the JobStack and that is made for people that can't get real jobs because they can't pass because their background is so bad. And a lot of those people, have drug problems and they can't get regular jobs because their legal background and stuff like that. Where they can go through JobStack and they can go work for temporary for a day or something. So a lot of those will have a real bad attitudes, and some won't. Some people like to work different jobs. Me, I'm not one to just flip flop because JobStack's great. They just don't pay you much money because they're headhunters, so they're going to take a cut. If you can get the job with the real company, you get paid way more. So that's what I like. I like the more money, more money. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a neat job. My feet hurt a little bit. So I did it like for 7 8 hours. But at first I thought, well, you got to get really fast. Well, you're not going to be really fast because you got to be careful not to hit anybody with a cart. You have to be careful where you're walking because somebody might come out from around the corner or whatever, and they take points off if you do that. So you want to be careful. So you take your time. It's hard to find exactly where to find stuff in certain aisles because you don't know every single aisle by heart. I imagine if you knew all the aisles by heart, you could really know where you're going. But the app is a bonus the way it's designed, the computer program, the way it's designed, because everything is next to each other. Everything they send you on is right next to each other. So you're not going from one side of the store to the other. You're going, 5 steps over here, 6 steps over here, 9 steps over here, you know. And then when you're done with that, then it sends you maybe another aisle over. And then you go up and down that aisle to get items for different people there. And then it might send you 3 aisles down, and then you're getting multiple items from that aisle. It's just really set up neat because you're doing all kinds of people's orders at once. You know, um, Very interesting. And it's lightweight. I mean, it's only by tote, and the totes are like, gee, I would say like a foot and a half high by 3 foot long by 2 foot wide, something like that. So they're not real big, and there's no real lifting involved unless you have to load the stuff in the cooler and you got like orange juice and a gallon of milk and some produce and stuff. Then it can get kind of heavy. But other than that, you don't have to mess with it unless you want to do the setup. They have a thing where after you get the order, they'll ask you if you want to do the setup or something, which I guess is organizing and setting up the order in the other room so that it's ready for pickup. And so I just opted out of that. They told me I could opt out of that. I didn't have to do that. So you just like drop the whole cart off, take your little phone thing and your printer with you, and go get another cart in the hallway because I got a whole bunch of them out there, and you reload it with your little plastic boxes and make sure there's no old labels on the boxes. And then you pick the next shopping trip. You just touch it, and then it automatically prints the labels, and you stick those labels in your boxes, and you go right out on the floor. And On occasion, you'll have customers ask you where something's at, and I don't like to know where anything's at. So I really don't. And I'm real honest with the people, and I smile. I'm like, I'm sorry, I normally work in the back. Um, so I don't know where a lot of stuff is. And as long as you're honest with the customers, they don't get all mad and wussy. Now, my other stalker job, they get all mad and wussy because they're snotty tourists. But at this job, they don't. Usually they'll laugh at me and they'll say, well, you know what? I appreciate your honest word. And I'm like, I'm just telling you. It sort of be like asking for road directions from me, man. You wouldn't want to ask road directions from me because I'm not sure. And I don't want to make you go lead you all over the place that's wrong. And they're like, man, I appreciate you. So, uh, you know, that works out pretty good. But they usually don't ask you too much because they see you're busy and I mean I just took the job to help out. I offered. I stepped up to the plate. I said they were short all kinds of people, and I was just doing some computer work, and I could lay it down no problem. I've been doing it for days, from opening to closing, doing a bunch of computer work, and for other departments, management departments, and stuff like that. So I've been doing a bunch of that, and so I said, look, you know, I could try to do it if you're that short. And they said, you would? And I said, yeah, I mean, is it really hard to learn? Like, if you just show me something for like 5 minutes, I could probably do it. And they're like, okay. And they just kind of laughed at me and said, go see this guy over there. He's head of the department. And take a hack at him. And okay. And so they were really blown away because I went and did several orders. And then I told them, the guy said, man, I got 480, pieces left to be picked for orders. And I said, well, so I'll stay after. If you'll call upper management and get it approved, I'll stay as late as you want me to. Doesn't bother me. He's like, really? So yeah, I don't mind. And I said, it's all about those Benjamins, man. I love those extra hours. And I really love the overtime of this place. But really a lot. But yeah, so if you're considering doing a job where you have to, be an online grocery shopper, whether it be for like Instacart or you're doing it for the company itself, um, I would say that's it's okay. Just make sure that you don't mind walking. Um, the one I did was very organized. I'm very impressed with it. Very, very impressed with it. I thought I'd have to be walking all over that store, ping ponging around like a ping pong ball. Not at all. Not at all. And then I even had an order where it said like, ambient order, and I'm like, I wonder what that means. And it came up and it printed one sticker, and that was it. And then I went out on the floor and it had me get two items. Two items. They were like grocery. Yeah. Threw in a box and it says, order's over. There's Blue Jeans. What's up? And welcome to the room. We love that you came on by today. But yeah, so I just got two items and then I said, okay, this is the end of your orders. And it was like, what? And I run that thing in the back room. So yeah, so if you've never done it or you're considering doing something like that, it's not a hard job at all. You don't have somebody standing over you or anything like that. Everybody's very nice, basically. So for the pallet jack driver. Um and uh um it's not a ton of running around all over the place. It's very organized, very, very organized. It's almost as if it was done in alphabetical order. It's pretty incredible. I was really impressed at how they set that system up. Because I was offered a job like 8 or 9 years ago at Walmart when I wanted to go in for store management, and they don't like to hire store managers right off top. They want you to start somewhere first because that's their policy. And They were going to do online shopping with a website. They were going to take that Walmart website. They always said it didn't never was related to Walmart, and they were going to set it up so you could buy whatever you needed from the store that's local to you, and then just go down there and pick it up. You pull up in a parking space with a number, and then they deliver it to your car. And so this is before it even started, and they had told me they were going to do that. And I said, well, it's about time you do that. Otherwise, DoorDash will go get it, and the Instacart people will go get it. So you're just losing money. And especially the pandemic, how handy was that? Where you didn't have to go in a store. Remember, it was like the fear of God to go in a grocery store or public place or bathroom or anything with more than you in it. Yeah, so that solved the problem right there, man. You could get your groceries without going into a grocery store and having people all over you, touching counters and everything else. And it would be outdoors, so you breathe fresh air all the time. You didn't have to wear a face mask outdoors. The sunshine killed corona. And in 2 hours time, sunshine would kill corona. And you could just load your car up with the groceries that somebody else picked, you know. And then you get home, just spray some Lysol there and wait a couple seconds and then undo your groceries, or wipe everything down with a sponge and then put it away. And how handy is that? And they don't charge you extra for it. They don't charge you extra to load your car. They do not accept tips and all that kind of thing. And so they were going to hire me to do the online grocery way back. I don't know if I was going to run the computer or actually load cars up or what, but that was what they were talking about back then, because they were trying to find a way to beat Instacart and Amazon and all that stuff. And so they decided to open an online thing. Now there's several stores that do online. I had suggested to DoorDash way back, man, it'd be nice if you deliver car parts. Because when I work on my car and it breaks down, they won't give me delivery unless I'm a business. And if I was business, I get free delivery. But, I had to walk half a mile to go get parts because the car's in pieces, right? It'd be nice if you could have it DoorDash to you. And see, today, they DoorDash just about everything now. And from pharmaceuticals to whatever. And especially with the DoorDash customers go, hey, can you go by the market and give me a pack of smokes? Can you go by the market and give me some Tylenol? And it's like, dude, I cannot stop. I'm on a timed order. And why should I take my own money and buy your stuff? I'll tip you, and they don't tip you. And it takes more time out. And you go in a gas station, there's like 20 people there. And, DoorDash, you got a timer on your phone to get the order in so much time, or you screws your ratings and your pay and your tips and everything else that come through DoorDash. So, no. So it worked out real well when DoorDash finally opened that up. And, and so now this is becoming a thing, and guess how much stuff you can sell if people will call it in or do it on a computer, and then they just pull up in their car and get it, or you have a delivery service. See, a lot of places stopped delivery, like the pizza joints. The pizza joints, they would supply you with a car, and it's insured, and then they would pay you, and then you also made tips. And then they stopped supplying the cars, so now you got to supply your own car, and that's wear and tear on your vehicle and everything else, and your own commercial insurance, because if you're moving commercial products, it's required by law you have commercial insurance. And don't think it's not, because the first time you get in a car wreck, it's going to be reported by the police and everything else. And if your phone was running on any app, they're knowing it. And two, your insurance company is going to drop you like a hot potato if they find out you were running DoorDash or Pizza Hut or whatever it is and delivering, and you did not have commercial insurance. They will not pay. They will drop you like a hot potato, and that will screw you up. So do get commercial insurance. It's not that much more expensive, and it's got a huge more coverage anyway. That's the way to fly, is get that commercial insurance. So anyway, uh, yeah. So it's really, you know, an interesting thing. It's just like, during the pandemic when the restaurants couldn't open the dining rooms. Um, for them to do to-go orders hand over fist, that was their revenue. That's what kept their doors open without them going out of business. And so, just like in a restaurant where, if it's a to-go order, you don't have to pay a busboy. You don't have to pay a waitress. You don't have to pay a hostess. You know, all you got is somebody that's preparing the orders, getting them ready and wrapped or ordered, and then you got a chef that's cooking them, and packing them up, and there it is. And you're paying very little utilities, and your payroll's super low, and you still got sales. So your overhead's real low. So, and all those people that were so mean to us delivering for those restaurants during the pandemic, you should be ashamed because that's what paid your paycheck. I had more restaurants that were like, we don't like DoorDashers, you know, because they get our tips. Well, guess what? You can't get a tip at Wendy's if you're working at Wendy's or McDonald's. You absolutely cannot take tips in those places. It's so sad, but it's company policy. And when my daughter worked at McDonald's, people try to tip her all the time and they won't let you do it. They're on video and all that. They get fired if you take a tip from a customer. And I mean, a customer should be able to tip if they feel like tipping. If you got Joe Millionaire rolls through there and you had a nice smile and you were nice to him and he wants to throw you $100 bill, by God, you should be able to accept it. No company should be able to tell you can't take it. I used to tip people at Walmart for loading stuff in my car, like a big piece of furniture or whatever, or TV. And when the guy get out there, he used to throw him 10 or 20 bucks. And then they outlawed that. They say, oh no. And I'm like, why? And they're like, we're not allowed to take tips. We'll get fired. It's like, why? It's just that way. So it's just really strange. But um, a tip is a gratuity. It's a kind thank you. For those that can afford to tip, it's a wonderful, gracious thing to be the receiver of that tip. It's a compliment saying you did a great job. Now, although a lot of people can't afford it, I mean, a good thank you's just as well, of course. But those that can roll out those Benjamins and tip you, whether it's, $1 or $5 or $10 or $20 or $100 bill, whatever, it's a blessing, man. And it's a really high compliment, and people get insulted if they're not allowed to tip, you know. So I find it very strange when companies will ban employees from getting tips. Pooled tips. I am absolutely against pooled tips. Always have been, always will be. I've worked with pooled tips with bartenders and stuff like that, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't care if it's two bartenders or 15. Pooled tip is bullcrap. One, because some people are better than others, and you might be the hot dog bartender, and the other guy's just some joker standing around and talk too much, and then you're making all the big money tips, and they're going into a jar, and you have to split it with that other jamoke. I'm not. I don't go for that. You should be able to keep your own tips. That pooling tips is bullcrap. You know, and I would never be for pooled tips. Never ever will I be for that, because you get tipped accordingly to your service, and some people have better service than others. That's a fact. You know what I mean? You ever gone in and ordered like $20 of food, and you had the most greatest waiter or waitress in the world, and you turn around and tipped them a $20 bill? I've done it. I have done it because they were so darn awesome. I've done it. Tipped more than what the food was worth. You know. Um, And then you have those that are sorry as heck and don't ever come back to the table. And you got to go get your own fork. You got to go get your own napkins. You got to go get a straw. You got to go ask somebody for a refill. You have to keep getting up from your own tables like you're serving yourself. And you don't even want to tip those suckers, but you got to leave them something. You just don't leave them a lot. You know, a couple bucks. That's about it, like $1 per person or something. Because they're sorry servers, you know. And there's those that are just so amazing. They read your mind and it's just right there all the time for everything you need. They think of everything. They check on you, you know, and it's great, you know. So yeah, you know, gotta work for it, man. But yeah, so if you're thinking about doing an online grocery shopping job where you pick the groceries for the customer, or they call it picking, or you're shopping for the customer, it really isn't hard at all. It's a real cruiser job, um, and you don't have to go real fast or anything. You just kind of, you know, take your time and read the thing and look at the pictures. And once you get, you know, like I said before, once you get used to aisle numbers, where stuff's at, you know, if you're working one particular store or whatever, then you do better. Also, I'm going to talk to you guys in another vlog about something called Spark, which has a lot of Walmart orders on it and is entirely different app than DoorDash or Uber Eats or anything else like that. It pays really well and you get tips. And we'll talk about that another time. Otherwise, if you want to research it, it's called Spark. But a majority of the orders are Walmart and you pick it up from Walmart. You don't have to do the shopping. You're a driver. You pick it up from Walmart and you deliver it to the customer and you get paid well and you make really good tips. But again, you'll need commercial insurance. But most of the orders are Walmart, so the stuff is ready for you to pick it up. You don't have to go through a bunch of rigmarole. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If it, and that type of job, if you're working for the store itself, doing the picking job or online grocery shopper job for that store, they do pay quite well. Usually it'll be, you know, $2 or $3 over minimum wage, and sometimes even higher. No, you don't get tips, and it's real simple. I mean, it's like you're working 5 to 20 minutes at a time with one cart, and you go back there and you go get another cart and load it up with your little tote things, and you print out your labels, and you walk out on the floor, and it tells you where to begin and where to end. And it's not a big hairy deal. It's I mean, really, it's about 5 minutes of your time to figure it out. With somebody showing you, it really is not that hard. I was like so scared, like going, I wonder how hard this will be, and it's not. It's not. Once you know, do it a couple times with a helper, and then it cuts you loose. It's really easy to do. After they cut you loose, it's really, really easy to do. It's like easier to do than with them. It's amazingly easy. And like I say, it's not like a whole bunch of heavy lifting or any crazy stuff like that. It is all baby stuff. You know what I mean? Like one onion, one small bag of oranges, you know, 5 bananas, you know, a package of cream cheese. It's really simple. It's just weird how you got to bag everything. Everything gets a plastic bag. So every single item gets a plastic bag. So it's like, I guess when they unload it to the customer, and it's just tons of plastic bags. I don't know. But it's neat. It's really super neat. Oh, and then you have labels. You have labels for fragile, big stickers, fragile, and then alcoholic beverage labels, and uh, the heavy label, and substitution label. That's the other one. And they're on little rolls. And so if you have a bag that, you know, is fragile, like say it's a picture frame or something like that, then you're gonna take that, you know, big long sticker and just pull it off and put it on that bag and throw it in that box. And that way, as it's moving from spot to spot until it's actually delivered to the customer, the people know that, these items are delicate, or they're, alcoholic beverage, and it can't be handed to a minor or whatever. Um, fragile, be delicate, that it's heavy. It's a heavy sticker so that, they know it's a heavy item. Um, yeah, so it's really a neat system. Um, you have the little bags right there on the cart. So you just like stuff it in a bag, and then it goes in the little box. It is amazingly easy. And if you sit there and think about, oh, online grocery shopping, so you're thinking you got to push a grocery cart around and fill it all up for one customer. Nope, not at all. It's just a cart that rolls super easy, and it's like you're pushing a feather. I swear, it is hard to believe. I did it with all the boxes filled, and it was like pushing a feather. I have to look at the engineering of those carts, because it was, I mean, you could almost push them with a pinky, okay? It was pretty hard to believe. So it's not, that you're pushing a heavy thing around at all. It's not that you go super fast at all, because you're not going to. And it's already pre-organized for you, so you can go get the stuff. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, you're not walking back and forth all over a whole store like a ping pong ball at all. It's all lined up in order, and it's really kind of cool. And you never know, like, when the thing ends. Like, it might be a 15 item order, and you just blew that sucker out in 5 minutes. It might be, 75 items, and it's going to take you, an hour. You might have part of it is cold items that's refrigerated, like lunch meats and stuff like that, and there's a timer set on it, and it's going to automatically end it, and it'll flash up on the screen and say this order has ended, and you have to take everything to the back and load it in the little glass cooler. So it's really set up neat. Very impressive system. Whoever designed that, bravo to you. I think that's a very nice futuristic approach to grocery shopping, or any type of shopping for any business. I think it's ideal. You know, um, it really saves time, and it's a better way to get revenue when you can have more turnover of your products by just having your employees gather them up and take them to a door, and somebody else, loads them in the car, or the customer comes in and picks it up. However they do it, I think it's a really good idea. Who wants to go to the grocery store, or who wants to go to a clothing store, when you could just order online and drive down there and pick it up, or have a driver go get it and deliver it to your house? It's ideal, and it is. The business of to go, when all they did was deliver pizzas years ago, and now you can get anything to go to your house. So check it out. Um, uh, it's an easy job, and it pays well. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Do something kind for a stranger, and I promise I'll be right back. I love you.